What's up, Trail and Summit crew? My name is Will. I'm from Gig Harbor, Washington, and today I'm going to show you my custom-made Sprinter van. So to kind of start off, we open up with a little shoe compartment that I have here. You can throw wet shoes, like 3 to 4 pairs of shoes fit in here, so it's a nice little spot to store your shoes and all that stuff. And then as we enter in the van here, you're kind of met by this countertop area, butcher's block with your 2-burner stove top, hooked up to propane. Nice spot for cooking, has all the space you need to chop up whatever. And also with the countertop over here, you have more counter space for any kind of cooking needs, as well as your sink right here, which is hooked up to a DC water pump. And the water pump switch is just over on the panel here. Got your water, as well as a little soap dispenser as for easy access. Also have a little knife rack here for just kind of storing your knives, as well as extra storage for anything like coffee, anything you could possibly imagine with the mason jars. You just kind of do a little twist turn, easy access. Bada boom, bada bing. So we got more storage up here with your shelves, storing food, anything you possibly could imagine. You got room for it, as well as these guys right here. And they're all on the soft closing hinges with magnets to kind of keep it in place when you're driving. Little extra storage down here as well with some baskets, no slip grip, so you can put in your pots and pans, they won't slip around, and just kind of made it open for easy access when you're parked at a spot and you don't have to keep opening doors and things like that. Over to the fridge area, we have a 1.4 cubic fridge, just the fridge, no freezer, plenty of room for anything you need, as well as a key and lock that I keep in the little drawer here, so you can lock up the fridge when you're driving around so it won't rattle and open up. You got a spot to do your business. Little porta potty, cassette toilet, super simple, but it's there if you need it, and it stows away with a lock. The bed here is a custom memory foam mattress. It's a little bit bigger than a full, a little bit smaller than a queen. Nice and thick, nice and comfy. You can spread out and get a good sleep on. The lights are hooked up to a touchscreen dimmer switch. You can get on and off. LED lights that are all up just on one switch, super easy. Over the bed you have more storage space with compartments for clothes, all that good stuff. They're all kind of sit in a little lock system so they won't open up when you're driving around. I do have some LED light strips underneath as well, made by Luminoodle. Super cool for a nice little light ambiance when you don't want to use the main ones. So we'll move up to the Max Air fan here. Sucks and blows air, tons of different speeds. You know, pretty useful thing here in the van. Everyone uses them. Feel like it's something that you need. Okay, so the sink area here or underneath for your water hookup, we have 2 6-gallon tanks for easy access, just strapped by bungee cords, nice and tight, that you can pull it in and out for when you got to fill up and when you got to dump your gray water. It's just a quick release for the fresh water, and just a simple little pull out, plug and play setup here for both the fresh water and gray water. And you got your flow jet water pump in the back here. If you need to work on anything, it's super easy access for all of that. And then as we get for the cooking area here, right next door, you got a lot of space for any other extra storage you need, garbage cans, whatever. We do have the little propane tanks that are hooked up to the stove here, and they have their little compartment that they sit in and do their thing. There's a ventilation on the other side there if needed, and the propane tanks are hooked up to a regulator and all of that, so it's just super safe, super simple, and an easy little setup for you. And they just all kind of sit in a little lock system so they won't open up. As we get into kind of the wall setup, I just used shiplap and got a nice white paint over it. I feel like it looks really clean. Kind of gives that homey vibe. And also you have cedar plank ceiling, tongue and groove. It's really lightweight, adds a nice little texture look to it, and just kind of makes a good feng shui with all the different colors, with the blue, the white, and the natural wood colors. So we have the passenger side seat hooked up to a swivel, so you can kind of interact with what's going on in the back cab here. Kind of nice to just have a spot to sit and relax and kind of just entertain with what's going on in the back area. So I hooked up a blackout curtain here that's just attached to these buttons. Just plop in place so that at night you can be a little bit more discreet. If you want to do some stealth camping or anything, literally no light comes out and you are in complete darkness. Also, you have a lot of storage up top here that I house some magnetized window insulated covers for the sliding door as well as the back two doors, so you get more insulation as well as more blackout at night, so you're not letting people see what's going on. Alright, so for the back garage area, I kind of wanted to separate the electrical with also an area that you can kind of have wet and throw anything from snowboards to skis to bikes back here. So there is room enough to put bikes as well as snowboards and skis, as well as anything else. You know, you can actually kind of sit back here fully, and so there's enough room for all the storage you could think of, as well as it's all waterproofed at the seams, so you don't have to worry about any water leaking anywhere into some spots that are, you know, you can't really see, and kind of create some mold and mildew and all that kind of stuff. And then for over here we have our whole electrical array here. Pretty much everything's made by Renogy, and we have a DC to DC charger that hooks up to also the alternator battery. So when you're driving, you're charging, and also when there's sun, you're charging with the solar panels up on the roof. And it's all run through a 12 volt 100 amp hour lithium battery that is also connected to a 1000 watt inverter for your AC power. All your DC components, appliances, lights, all that kind of stuff is hooked up to a fuse block with all your fuses and things like that. Super simple setup. Everything that is run off the DC fuse box is run off to a on-off switch. So when you're hanging out for a couple days or you're parked in a way, you can turn everything off so you're not draining any power, and it's just kind of nice to have that option. So the van is fully insulated, and I use Havelock wool insulation for the sides as well as the roof and the front compartment. The floorboard is all insulated with foam board, and I feel like the wool insulation is a really nice, environmentally friendly product that I did a lot of research on, and I feel like Havelock wool just does a good job of keeping the inside nice and warm and safe to breathe and kind of live in. And the foam board for the floor just kind of creates a little bit more, you know, of the warmth. It is vinyl flooring, so it does get a little bit cold no matter what, but anything helps. So we have our battery monitor here that is hooked up obviously to the battery, and you can see the voltage you're pulling, as well as the number of amp hours that you're pulling, and shows you if you're at 100% or less. And it's just a good way to kind of keep tabs on where your battery levels are at. And you also have your inverter switch turned on and off that you can link up to the AC plug-in switch here with 2 USB inputs, so you can charge anything from computers, cameras, phones, you name it. You can run it off the AC power. So probably some things that I would change if I was going to do it differently. I would probably add a shower. I think for me it's just nice because I love to dive, I love to snowboard, I like to be active, so just having a spot you can rinse off quickly is always something that is nice. But you know, if you have a gym membership or anything like that, you know, it is pretty easy to find a shower somewhere. If you're down on the coast or something, you know, by the beaches, you can always find a spot to kind of rinse off. But I probably would change that if I was to add anything to this setup. And I think my advice to anybody else kind of wanting to jump in is, like, don't be discouraged. It is intimidating, but it's such a fun process to go about, and once you kind of see things go along and see your work kind of come to fruition, I mean, it's pretty amazing and rewarding to create something that's fully livable and functional, and you got your power and everything you need to kind of live that minimal life. And yeah, it's just it's a cool way to create something and go about, you know, adventuring around. So the whole project cost me, you know, around 10 grand for all the components, electrical, wood, all those things. You know, I had basically all the tools at hand, so I didn't have to splurge on any tools or anything like that. But it's really about you. You know, if you're trying to make this elaborate thing, you're going to be spending more on your build. So just kind of depends on, you know, what you're thinking. You know, sit down, you know, write out everything that you want in the van and kind of base the prices off that, and go from there. So I tried to make this super simple, but just super functional, and, you know, have mostly everything you need, from cooking to cleaning, storing your food, storing your stuff, and obviously having power. All right, so thanks for coming along and letting me show you my build. Thanks to the Trail and Summit crew for coming along and allowing me to kind of present my project to the world. It's quite a cool little process, and if you guys do want to follow along, I'm making another van, doing another build as we speak, so you can follow along on that process, as well as my personal Instagram handle as well. So make sure you guys go down in the description, follow along, and